Hello, everyone. Reminder today is the last day of marking period 2. So, grades are due till May 6th, but I'm going to give you guys the weekend to continue submitting any late assignments. So, I'll be grading throughout the weekend. Just be mindful. Many students are sending in their work late, so it might take me a little bit to get through all the assignments, but grades will be in, so try and get your work in as soon as possible, okay? So today's due now, you're focusing on what's your favorite household chore, or at least what's your least horrible household chore you have to do. Explain why. And then what's your least favorite household chore, or what household chore do you hate the most, and explain why. Yeah, I can't say I have a favorite. Perhaps my least horrible would probably be, wiping the counters or organizing. I like doing that stuff. Then my least favorite household chore would probably be laundry. So having to fold the laundry, I can never get myself. Well, obviously I do, but it's tough. So that's my least favorite. So you just explain why. All right, so for vocabulary today, we have gone over irony before. This is all review. So irony is the expression of one's meaning by using language that normally signifies the opposite. So typically for humorous or emphatic effect. We talked about 3 different types of irony, right? You have dramatic, situational, and dramatic, situational. For some reason, I'm blanking on the third one right now. It'll come back to me. So focusing on those 3. Then we have metaphor, the comparison of one thing to another without the use of like or as. So this was in your poetry terms, right? So remembering that. Without, you're comparing 2 things, but you're not using like or as. That would be a simile, right? When you use like or as. And then you have an extended metaphor, which is a metaphor that lasts throughout the entire text. So they're using, right, a comparison throughout the whole poem and not just in one line. So keep that in mind. And then, yeah. So, yes, the most obvious one, verbal. So yeah, situational, dramatic, and verbal irony. All right, so these are some examples. Like we said, it's the contrast between what is expected and what actually happens. So a lot of times people say sarcasm would be verbal irony, because verbal irony is what is said is different than what is meant. And then an example is you tell someone to break a leg, but you mean for them to actually have good luck, right? So anytime theater terminology, a lot of the times in order to say good luck, you say, oh, break a leg. That sounds mean, but it's actually a form of good luck. If we go up, you see, you see situational irony. So something happens that we wouldn't expect to happen. So a fire station burns down, right? That's ironic because, well, the fire station is meant to put fires out, and then the station itself catches on fire. And then you have dramatic irony. So the reader knows something that the characters do not. So if you've ever seen the movie Home Alone, we know that Kevin has planted traps everywhere, but the thieves don't, right? And then they end up falling into his traps. So that would be situational irony. We know something that they don't. So today's poem is House Cleaning by Nikki Giovanni. I will read it once and then make sure you guys are also reading it out loud on your own. It says, I always liked house cleaning, even as a child. I dug straightening the cabinets, putting new paper on the shelves, washing the refrigerator inside out. And unfortunately, this habit has carried over, and I find I must remove you from my life. Right? That took a turn of events. She goes from enjoying house cleaning, right, cleaning things up, but then the metaphor here is she carried it over to her whole life. So she's cleaning up, the messes of in her life, whether it's a relationship. Obviously, here she says, "I find I must remove you from my life." So perhaps there's a toxic person or a dirty person, so to speak, that she needs to remove for her life so that she can move on. So house cleaning, obviously it's more than just house cleaning. She's using it as an extended metaphor for her life. So on your own in the Google Doc, you're going to share what is ironic about this poem. Why might somebody need to remove a person from their life? And how is removing a person from your life like cleaning? Okay, so we talked about the poem a little bit, so hopefully when you read it again, you have a deeper understanding of your own. All right, so on your own, after you do the poetry analysis, the poem that you guys are going to have to write is a poem of a minimum 12 lines. So the lines are more important than the stanza. So if you want everything to be one stanza, fine by me, just like with Nikki Giovanni's poem. Or you can break it up into 2 or 3 stanzas, totally up to you. Could be more than that too. But it uses at least one metaphor and has an ironic conclusion. So if you have questions, look back at house cleaning. That is a perfect example of her using a metaphor and then also having an ironic conclusion. Again, ironic conclusion should be some kind of twist or surprise ending. So keep that in mind as you work. Other than that, I think we are done for today. So, yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, have a good weekend. Again, this is the work that you're doing today will go in for marking period 3. Okay. All right. Have a good day, guys. Bye.